I'm Kiara Pesante Haughton. I'm the Vice President of Campaigns and Communications at the National Women's Law Center. And I am so excited to be here. Is everyone all right? Anything interesting going on in the world right now? Are we okay? These are very exciting and overwhelming, but joyful and serious times. And so I'm just so grateful to be able to stop, take a beat, and share space with all of you here. Before I say anything else, I have to give a special thank you to our friend who is sending her love but supported this event directly. My dear sister to many of us in the room, Michelle Joando at the Vineyard Network for supporting this event. As I just want to lift her name up in this space. I'm sure she'll be here tomorrow or another day. Thank Vineyard for their support. And speaking of partners, it's great to see the hugs and kisses. I especially now have been just so wonderful to see so many familiar faces here today. And some new friends. So thank you all for navigating the weather and the parking and everything and joining us. So we are here today to affirm, uplift, and celebrate our power and our resilience as Black women. The love and joy and community that we create, that is itself an act of resistance and reclamation, right? So the one that so many families have created in this place, not necessarily this building, but in this place for decades. I come from a long line of truly remarkable women who persisted in spite of often terrifying challenges, from ships that arrived at the ports of Charleston and San Juan to some version of freedom, from sharecropping to land owning, from leaving school after eighth grade to college degrees. My foremothers were and are all the parts of me. And so I'm so proud to honor their legacy through my work at the National Women's Law Center, where I'm loving and fighting for a better future for my own two daughters, but for all of us. For a society that values and invests in child, elder, and disability care and gives families the support they deserve. For safe and inclusive schools where my girls and yours can learn and grow free from violence, harassment, and discrimination. For a true representative democracy, okay, not a theocracy or an autocracy, but a strong democracy where people's voices are heard, and a democracy that expands as the country grows, right? And for a country where my daughters have more rights than I did, not fewer, when it comes to their own bodies and their own health choices. And so, with that, because I do not want to be before you long, I want to introduce you to our fearless leader, our chief joy officer, if you will, the president and CEO of the National Women's Law Center, Fatima Goss.
Thank you. I'm Fatima Goss Graves. I'm president and CEO at the National Women's Law Center, and I've been trying to make my way around and say hello to everybody one-on-one. So hopefully I will have a chance to do that before you all leave. And thank you, Kiara, for the kind introduction. And a very big thank you to my colleagues at the National Women's Law Center who made this event happen, to Serena and Giselle, who you may have met outside. So thank you all for being here. And it's a special place, right? The Vineyard's a special place. I feel like the thing that I notice is that the moment folks get off the ferry or land that flight, they breathe a little bit more. And it's been that sort of place of refuge and joy for generations for Black folks, I know, especially when few vacation destinations would welcome us. But it is also a special place because so many luminaries and leaders and lovers of Black people have also come to these shores to rest and restore and commune. And so it's sort of fitting that we're gathering here in August in this particular moment, because it's a time that is somehow both really turbulent and it is also a time that's exciting. And I have to say that I have been noticing people are almost afraid to say that they have that feeling, right? That like, am I excited? Is that what it feels? I hope this room, at least the doors are closed. It's a safe enough space that I want us to be able to hold those feelings too, to give some permission, to take some space for joy and excitement. Um, Also, it is a time, and what a time that we're living in. It feels unprecedented, and it's unprecedented in part because it's a moment where we're taking the time, as Kiara said, to define not only the future for our children, but for their children. We're having a conversation about what our nation will be, what that future will look like. And as the Vice President of the United States has said, the baton is in our hands. And so, one of the things right now that's bringing me so much joy is watching the many people pick it up. I mean, maybe I'm sure you all have by now heard that the same day that Vice President Kamala Harris announced her campaign, that 44,000 Black women, and I know Kiara was on, I was on. Raise your hand if you were on. I mean, gathered that night on Zoom. The bat signal went out, and in just 3 hours, 1.6 million was raised. And that Zoom call inspired other Zoom calls. You may have your favorite version of it, of people finding community. I see my friend Monifa here. I see, the moms one. I love the moms one. I don't own a cat, but I know the gatherings have happened. And I want to be clear, Black women didn't wake up on Sunday and just decide we're going to start a movement. And many of you know that if you were on, that call had been going on for a long time, organized by the Win with Black Women Collective, taking place every Sunday for 4 years. When they say, they say if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, but there's leadership involved in staying ready, right? Like the leadership of folks like Joteka, Eddie, and Donna Brazil, and Yolanda Caraway, and Reverend Leah Daughtry, and Mignon Moore, who you will see their leadership at the DNC in ways that are like, I don't know that I thought that I would see in my lifetime. The leadership of sister friends like Melanie Campbell and Linda Carr and so many more. And that leadership is part of a lineage of Black women's leadership that, of course, stretches back from pioneers like Sojourner Truth or Mary Church Terrell or Fannie Lou Hamer. Black women have learned to stay ready. And I believe it's just because we know the stakes, right? And today, the stakes are clear. We are facing down a coordinated effort to undo 60 years of progress, to take away our hard-fought rights on reproductive freedom, an agenda determined to undermine access to healthcare, an agenda determined to undermine affordable childcare, an agenda to ensure that paid leave is not available for everyone, no matter where they live, an agenda to undermine our very representative democracy. The idea that you live here, you get to vote, and your vote counts. So these are theoretical threats for us, right? They are front and center. And when leaders roll back our rights and slash investments in our communities, we know that it's Black families that feel it the most. And it's not just about what we have to lose. We know that when we organize together, when we come together to claim our power, and when we build a future towards freedom and opportunity, that works out for all of us. So I know there will be times that feel very deeply uncertain and unsteady. And I have been hearing from folks who are sort of casually wondering whether they can make a difference, whether their time, their talents, their treasures matter. And I'm just here to remind us that we are building on a legacy of Black folks who did not give up. And I think that's written in our nation's story. It's not always the story that's told, but it is written in our nation's story, and it is exactly what we are called to do today. So it is our task to turn back the tide of division and regression with a groundswell of solidarity and hope, and to make sure our country's next generation of leaders continue to march towards liberation and equal justice. But make no mistake, the extremist forces, they are very well organized and they are focused. And sure, they want to take us back, and they are well funded, right? Which actually is a reminder, and my team would basically say I was not doing my job if I didn't say that organizations like the Law Center definitely need our support to power our way forward for women and girls in this country. But these forces have been in the business of executing a well-formulated and years-long plan to inflict the most harm the fastest possible the moment they have any power. And they are intent on further consolidating their power. They're clear on it. There is only one force that's more powerful than that, and that is the solidarity of people who come together to do justice, and to love mercy. The solidarity among us that's just such a beautiful balm for the hate and the cynicism that we see. It is the path to economic opportunity. It gives us the strength to fight all of our freedoms. It is the freedom that we have to control our bodies, to control our lives, to parent or to not, to live without fear of violence. So at the Law Center, we are clear on that charge. We know we fight for gender justice. We do it in the courts. We do it in public policy. We do it in our society. We work to build coalitions that are broad and that are deep. But with every lawsuit we file and every campaign that we wage, we also know that it is our task to center the voices in the communities that are most impacted. So whether that is from closing the wage gap that stretches the largest and widest for Black and Brown women, standing up for pregnant workers, to stopping sexual harassment at work and at school that disproportionately impacts the futures of Black and Brown women and girls. We are advancing gender justice. We are advancing justice for her and justice for all. Whether it is protecting access to sports and schools for all girls, to challenging the egregious book bans that are popping up in places like Georgia and Florida, to holding abusers accountable and getting justice for survivors. That is our task, and we are advancing justice for her, which is justice for all. So yes, the moment is unprecedented, and we've been here before. I know you know that. But we also know what we have to do. And no matter what we face in the weeks and months ahead, and no matter what the next 90 days look like, I think it's going to be intense, and that's on purpose, and you can do that too. Let's keep our heads up, our vision clear, our feet firmly planted, because we know when we join together that no one is more powerful. So thank you for coming. I really want to make sure I have a chance to say hi to everyone individually, so please let me do that. And the National Women's Law Center will be with you and be here every step of the way. So thank you so much.